Welcome to Escape by Tan. This is going to be a very quick tutorial on how to make this. It's going to be somewhere on the screen. It's basically making a 2.5D or a 3D immersive phone wallpaper, but you can take this workflow and apply it to anything. Make it into something that has more depth and it's more immersive. Make it into 2.5D or 3D. In this video, we'll be doing the same workflow in both Lens Studio and then in Spark AR. I will leave the timestamps here for when it's going to be about Lens Studio and when it's going to be about Spark AR, so you can pick and choose, or you can just watch both. It's going to be the same video anyway. Right, so the thing that you're going to need to make this work is this mesh, which basically act like an occluder at the same time as the container for the elements that you're going to put into your for example, in this case you're going to put in the phone, right? So this isn't that hard, to be honest. This is basically just the standard blender cube that you find. So what I did is I took the cube and I deleted one of the faces, and once that was done, I basically made a duplicate of it, scaled it, and then adjusted it a little so they're about the same level, and then I gave the top one a little bit of a lip so it covers the inner wall as well. I'll tell you why we need two shells when we bring it into Lens Studio and Spark AR. But if you don't want to make it, it's going to be in the description. You can download it and use it. And let's start with Lens Studio and then we'll get into Spark AR. Right, now that we're in Lens Studio, what we're going to do is bring in the mesh that we made. Right, so once you're done importing the mesh into Lens Studio, what you're going to do is going to Objects panel, open marker tracking, open image tracking. It's going to ask you to import the image that you're going to use as a tracker. You have to use the screenshot of your wallpaper or whatever image you intend to use as the tracker, basically. Right, so you won't be able to see the preview of what you're doing because it is a tracking lens. So you need to track something for you to preview it. So for you to do that, you need to change your preview settings. Basically, what you're going to do is going to your preview, change it from video to image. Once you're in image mode, go into add new source and you add the wallpaper you just added for your tracker. Then once it's been imported, you go up there and you have it here. So it will basically allow you to see what's happening. And then it's just simple. You take the mesh and then you put it in the objects panel and you make it the child of the tracker, right? And then you adjust the dimensions, rotations, etc. So once you've imported your mesh into the objects panel, you make whatever changes you need to make so that it fits snug around the image that you're tracking, right? And the next thing you do is assigning materials. This is a very important step, and what you need to do, you see this is a default material that is assigned to both the inner wall and the outer wall, right? So just to make things easier, we're going to rename things. This is outer wall and this is inner wall, right? Once that is done, what you're going to do is assign them separate materials. In Lens Studio, you already have an occluder material available. So what you do is you click on occluder material, it comes in, and then you click on the outer wall. The outer wall gets the occluder material. All right, so basically what this occluder does is it won't allow you to look at the contents of the occluder mesh and what's inside from the sides, right? If you look at it from the sides, you won't be able to see anything, and that's why it looks immersive and it looks like it has depth, right? And for the inner wall, you're going to leave the material as it is, but you're going to change one thing specifically that you need to change or else it won't work, is the culling. You're going to click on the cull mode and change it from back to front, right? So once you're done doing that, it's going to look like this. And instead of using a screenshot for preview, what you can do is click a picture of you holding the phone and use that in the preview, so it'll give you a better idea. I should have planned this planned this video. You do that, and once that is done, then the rest of it is as it is. You basically put whatever you want inside of it, and then in the end you get something like this. This, I don't know which way I'm going to put it, but yeah, it's going to somewhere. Yeah, that's how you do it. So that's for Lens Studio. And if you want to publish it as a lens, I suggest you use a unique image that people can download and use your lens for, etc. You can use the same process for a mural, for a graffiti, for a painting, anything. It goes for anything. It's just basically using the concept of occlusion to create depth. Now we'll take a quick look at what we need to do in Spark AR. The process is basically the same. You import the mesh, you assign the materials, and then you do whatever you want to do with it. First things first, we take the mesh, we bring it in, then we bring in the wallpaper or any image that you intend to use, and then you go here, you add target tracker. Remember, in Lens Studio it's called image tracking. In Spark AR it's called target tracking. You do target tracker, and for the target here you pick the screenshot, and since you can already see it faintly in the preview panel, you don't need to use an image, but you can if you want to, right? Now the same thing goes, you bring in the occluder, you make it the child of the tracker, then you scale it, right? So once you've made it the child of the tracker, you adjust the scale, rotation, position to make sure that it sits snug to the image tracker, the target tracker that you're using, right? There's going to be some gaps, so make sure you adjust those properly. And the important step, the most important step I would say, is this, right? Now the material that is already assigned to the inner wall and the outer wall. So I don't usually do this because I'm a very messy person, but for the sake of this video, outer wall, inner wall. And for the outer wall we're going to create a new material, and with that we're going to create an occluder. There isn't an inherent occluder material available, but what you can do is open the material, go change it to flat, and then change the opacity to 1%, and that's what makes it an occluder. Right, once you're done setting the occluder, come to the material for the inner wall that is already set, and you change the culling from back to front. Once you have imported the mesh and you have put it in the scenes panel, and then you made it the child of the target tracker, you're going to take the outer wall and assign it a new material, and for that new material you're going to change it to flat and then change the opacity to 1%. You take the default material that is for the inner wall and you change the culling from back to front so it faces inwards. Then you change the material however you like. You add whatever objects you want, animations, sound effects, particles, anything. This is the basic workflow of making an immersive 2.5D 3D effect. You can use the same process for murals, graffitis, paintings, digital art, t-shirts, anything. The concept is using the occlusion to create immersion. That is the basic concept of it, and this is one of those applications. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope that was useful for you.
Please subscribe, whatever.